The Country Mouse and the Town Mouse.
Once upon a time, there was a country mouse who lived in a quiet little village. He had a small hole under a tree and lived a simple life. He didn't have much, but he was happy. He ate things like grains, fruits, and drank fresh milk. One day, his cousin, the town mouse, came to visit him. The country mouse was very happy to see his cousin and welcomed him warmly. He offered him delicious ladus and a bowl of fresh milk, but the town mouse didn't seem impressed. He sniffed the food and said, "This is what you eat? In the city, we have cakes, sweets, cheese, and all kinds of fancy food." The country mouse felt a little embarrassed, but the town mouse smiled and said, "Come with me to the city. I'll show you what real food tastes like." The next day, the country mouse packed his things and went with his cousin to the big city. The town mouse took him to a huge house where rich people lived. They quietly entered a grand dining hall. On the table there was so much food: cheese, fish, bread, and sweets. The country mouse's eyes lit up with excitement. "This is amazing," he whispered. Both mice jumped onto the table and started eating. The food was delicious. But just as they were enjoying themselves, they suddenly heard loud growling and barking. "What's that sound?" the country mouse asked, shaking with fear. "Oh, those are just the house dogs," said the town mouse. "Don't worry, they can't reach us if we're quick." But before he could finish, the dogs started running toward the dining hall. The mice quickly ran for their lives and hid behind a curtain. The country mouse's heart was beating fast. He was terrified. As soon as the dogs went away, the country mouse came out and said, "Thank you, cousin, but I'm going back home. I'd rather eat grains and milk in peace than eat cakes while living in fear." With that, he left the big city and happily returned to his peaceful village. Moral: it is better to live in peace than in fear.
The Fox and the Crow.
One bright morning, a crow was sitting on the branch of a tall tree. In his beak he held a piece of bread that he had just found. He was feeling proud of his treasure and looked around, hoping others would admire him. Just then, a clever fox passed by. She saw the bread in the crow's beak and immediately became greedy. She wanted that bread for herself, but how could she get it? She knew she would need to be smart, not strong. So the fox looked up at the crow and said, sweetly, "Good day to you, dear crow. What a fine morning it is, and what a magnificent bird you are. Your feathers are so shiny and black, and you sit so gracefully. Surely you must be the king of all birds." The crow heard this and was flattered. He puffed up his chest, but he didn't open his mouth, afraid the bread might fall. The fox noticed this and added with a sly smile, "But I have heard that your voice is the most beautiful in the forest. If only you would sing me a song, I would be sure that you truly deserve to be the king of birds." The proud crow couldn't resist any longer. The praise had made him forget about the bread. He opened his beak and said, proudly, "Thank you," but the moment he opened his mouth, the piece of bread fell down to the ground. Quick as lightning, the fox grabbed the bread and ran off into the forest, laughing, teasing. "Thank you for the breakfast, dear crow," she shouted. The crow was left embarrassed and hungry, realizing that he had been fooled by flattery. Moral of the story: do not trust people by their sweet words. Judge them by their actions.
Happily ever after.
A long time ago, there lived a man named Brahmadat and his kind-hearted wife. They loved each other very much, but they had no children. This made them very sad. They prayed to the gods day and night, asking for a child. Finally, their prayers were answered, but in a strange way. One day, the wife gave birth, not to a human baby, but to a snake. Though shocked at first, Brahmadat and his wife loved their snake son deeply. They cared for him like any parent would, feeding him, talking to him, and protecting him. To them, he was their precious child. Years passed, and the snake grew into adulthood. Brahmadat and his wife thought, "It is time for our son to get married," but finding a bride was not easy. Whenever they approached families with marriage proposals, the parents refused immediately. "How can our daughter marry a snake?" they would say, shaking their heads. No one could see beyond his snake form. One day, Brahmadat met his old friend. The friend asked, "Why do you look so troubled?" Brahmadat told him about his son and how no one wanted to marry him. To Brahmadat's surprise, his friend said, I will give my daughter's hand in marriage to your son. Brahmadat was worried. He asked, Do you understand? My son is not a man. He is a snake. The friend smiled. You are my dear friend. I trust you. If he is your son, he will be my son-in-law. When the girl heard about the marriage, she was shocked. A snake as a husband. She felt frightened, but she respected her father deeply and wanted to honor his word. So she agreed, though her heart was full of questions. The wedding was held, and the girl went to live in her husband's home. On the first night, the girl saw something unbelievable. As night fell, her snake husband quietly shed his skin, and in front of her stood a handsome young man. His eyes sparkled and his smile was warm. He told her, I am under a curse. During the day I must live as a snake, but at night I return to my human form. The girl was amazed and felt a wave of relief. She realized her husband was kind and gentle, and she began to love him. Time passed, and their bond grew stronger. One day, the girl remembered something an old woman had told her. If a cursed person's snake's skin is destroyed, the curse can be broken forever. That night, when her husband had shed his skin and was asleep, she carefully took the snake skin and burned it in the fire. The next morning, the young man woke up, still in human form. The curse was gone. Brahmadat and his wife were overjoyed to see their son as a man at last. The couple lived happily ever after, filled with love and gratitude. And so, the strange story of the snake son ended in joy, proving that true love and courage can break even the strongest curse.